joining us today for a very, very special presentation by Stephanie Polestina. Stephanie graduated about an hour ago. It feels like that. It was May 2023, but we're so thrilled when we can always bring alumni back to have conversations with our students. We are just setting up the screen that we'll be sharing with all of you. But while I am doing that, I'm going to take a moment to tell you that Stephanie was a business alum in marketing and data analytics. So for all of you that are joining us today, the conversation will be around networking by like an alumni, but please feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions or to take yourself off mute, show your camera so that we can see your beautiful faces. When you ask a question, we just ask that you give your name and your major so that when we're talking about the answer to your question, we'll know who you are. And for any honors students that are doing this program, please make sure in the chat that you put your name so we can track that for you. So I'm going to step off screen for a moment and let Stephanie introduce herself while I set us up.
Thanks so much for the great intro, Kathy. Yeah, so like she said, I just graduated. It does feel like it was only an hour ago. Hopefully you guys received my bio page ahead of time, but I'll also have it up on the screen soon when we have the PowerPoint up. But just a quick intro, my UConn intro is that I graduated in 2021. And I was in the business school. I was a marketing major with a minor in data analytics. And there it is. Perfect. Okay, yeah. Um, yeah, so yeah, so a little about me. I live in New York City right now. I'm from Bethel, Connecticut, and I love travel, food, fitness, concerts, and the beach. So those are just, getting the fun facts out of the way. Everyone's always curious about that. But like I said, my UConn background is I graduated in, that's should not say 2023. I was thinking of when I graduated from my rotational program that I'm going to touch on. UConn Business 21, like I mentioned. I went I went abroad in the spring of 2020 to Barcelona. It was fun while it lasted before you all know what happened in spring 2020. I was in the BCLC for my freshman and sophomore year, which was an awesome experience. And I know you all are getting some professional development stuff from the BCLC, which I totally recommend taking full advantage of. I was involved in Delta Sigma Pi. I was on the board for Marketing Society, and I also had an on-campus job in the off-campus student services office doing marketing and communications. And then my Synchrony background is right now, today, my permanent role is I'm a product owner, basically product marketing for an innovation team at Synchrony. But what I meant when I said permanent role is because I just rolled off of a rotational program. So that ended this year, 2023, like I have up there. And so that was a 2-year program, and I was in the marketing track. So basically what that means is I did 3 marketing roles across 2 years in the program. So over on the right, I'm not going to go through all of it, but basically I started my sophomore year, I did an internship with Forrester, but it was previously known as Serious Decisions. That was actually a connection through the BCLC. So I'll touch on some of those networking points there that got me that internship. But before that, I did a quick externship at Synchrony, which led me into the following summer doing the internship at Synchrony. And then through that, I got the full-time offer to go into that rotational program. And then I have my various rotations mapped out there. So we can, do you have the full PowerPoint, Kelly?
I don't have the PowerPoint yet, so I just pulled up the bio
Okay.
that you sent.
Huh.
So we can just start going, and I'll pull it up as soon as I get it.
Okay. So weird. All right, well, I'll start talking through my content then. But today we are talking about networking in and out of college. So I know this is a big, scary word, but the point of this is not to throw a bunch of information at you, even though we have a good amount of content to go through. But it's more so to make it feel more tangible, and it's something that anyone could do, and it's it's pretty simple and not that hard if you just kind of reframe your mindset towards it. So we're going to talk about what networking is, why it's important, tangible tips and tricks, and then get more into networking in college versus in the workplace. And then I really want to I learned best is hearing people's personal stories. So I totally did a ton of networking in college, learning from the BCLC. And then, like I said, it landed me a couple opportunities. And then today at Synchrony, it's a big culture oriented company. So networking is kind of the name of the game. And I like to think that networking got me that full-time conversion from the internship. So what is networking? So the networking is the process of creating, building, and maintaining relationships. So it could be meeting people at various events or conferences. It could even be meeting a mutual friend. It could be connecting with someone on LinkedIn or getting LinkedIn message, or even networking could be really intentional, like coordinating a time for a call with someone. And it can happen either organically or intentionally. So organically could be like those personal relationships or a professor that you're assigned to their class, or a project that you're put on in your job that you have to work with certain leaders on to get things done. So that's organically. And then intentionally, that could be networking through knowing your goals and basically what you want to get out of networking, and then intentionally creating a plan and basically pushing yourself to talk to the people that you need to talk to achieve those goals. And like I mentioned before, reframing networking is important, I think, because it's just simply getting to know people. It doesn't have to be some big scary beast. And how I also think of it is it's just communicating with someone, basically what you want to learn. So instead of it being like, oh, I have to network in order to ask for a job, it's more like think about it, you're asking for learning something. So it could be learning um based on someone's experience, so learning career advice because you're interested in their career path, or it could be learning what job opportunities may suit your goals at that company. And I had a little quote up on the screen. I know you guys can't see it, but me being a marketing major, networking is marketing yourself, your uniqueness, and what you stand for. Just a little tidbit I had up. And then the importance of networking. So I think it's kind of self-explanatory why networking is good, especially in the business world. It's like who you know, not what you know. So some of that is a little true. But in general, networking develops deeper relationships. This could be personal, professional, whatever. It establishes your personal brand. It diversifies your knowledge. So I'm a marketing major, but I could learn things about other functions or just other areas within marketing. It builds self-confidence. The more you do anything, the easier it is, the more confident you are with yourself and how you can talk to strangers. And then also it can introduce new professional opportunities or personal opportunities. So like I said, it really has afforded me many opportunities. So, but it also comes with many other benefits as well.
So Steph, I just want to interrupt for a second. I don't have the presentation, but for everybody that's on here, this is what a professional looks like when you have things planned, right? You have it all set up, just this amazing PowerPoint, and technology doesn't work. So the fact that we are able to just walk through this and do this in a natural, really sort of relaxed environment, I think is absolutely wonderful, Steph. So thank you very much for doing that and showing everybody what it's like when, you feel like you want to panic inside and you're like, oh, this is how business works. We're going to go for it.
And Kathy, by the way, Drew from IT said that he's just messaged you to
Okay.
help you with the PowerPoint.
All right. Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and Kathy, I realize now I got an email that maybe I can't send it because it's external to
Right.
Synchrony's network. So you'll all get the PowerPoint after.
Oh, that
Which
would
is
be
better.
great. Yeah, that would be cool. Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, I can pretty much talk to a wall, so I'll just keep on chugging along. So some tips for networking success. So like I said, I was gonna get some tips and tricks. So set goals, quality over quantity. Don't only take and be consistent. So setting goals is basically knowing what you want to gain from each contact and what you want to achieve through networking as a whole. So it could be like, I want to reach out to this contact because I'm interested in an internship at their company. And then I want to achieve through networking in general, learning more about my major, what different companies do within my major, and overall bettering myself and my ability to talk to people. So those could be goals. Quality over quantity, having only one responsive contact that you truly connect with and you feel like you can go back and forth with and learn from, and they're interested in you as well as them. Having one of those is better than having like 7 unresponsive, not super, deep connections. So, and I know like when I was younger, it used to be like, all right, I need to know so many people. But now as I've gotten older, it's kind of whittled down, and it's almost like, I kind of think about it with graduating from college and going into my 20s, where it's like I had all these college friends, and it kind of whittles down into the ones that are true friends and the ones that really uplift your life. Anyway, back to networking. Don't only take, so don't only engage when you need something. So like I said before, not just when you need a job. So offer your support to other people you network with. So, like even if you're talking to a leader, you can be like, what can I help you with? Like, what's your priority right now? And like, I'm open to taking on side projects because I admire you and I want to learn so much from you. So you can offer your help in those ways. But then also you can take in a way of like learning from this person, but being super appreciative about it, and even be super open about like, wow, you're really helping me in this, and this way. And then lastly, be consistent. So people are more likely to help you and and want to stay in touch with you if they feel connected to you. So what I like to do in the professional version of networking is people that I really connect with or have uplifted my career in different ways. I have regular, like basically scheduled time with them. So it could be quarterly or monthly, and that's just a good way to always know like, we have something set up, it's coming up, I don't have to stress about it. I know that connection is going to keep going, as long as we both wanted to. And then I had a fun page of some do's and don'ts. So again, on the tips and tricks thread. So do's, some of these might be repeats, but I'll run through it quick. So do's are prepare. So prepare for any networking conversation. So that could be jotting down a personal branding statement. And I know you've probably heard those things in classes before, like personal branding, elevator pitch. It could be as simple as, like, I've typed this out before, like, hi, my name is Stephanie. I am from Bethel, Connecticut. I went to UConn and graduated this year. This is what I'm currently working on, like something like that. Jot it down beforehand. Know who you're speaking to. So if you can, obviously depends on the situation, but researching the person's role, and if you could see what school they went to, things like that. And overall, having a conversation structure in mind ahead of time is super helpful. You don't want it to come off like you're just jumping on a call, or walking up to someone at a career fair and you're just waiting for them to carry the conversation. And be personable, be yourself, and bring some energy. So build that rapport up front, show that you can be a conversationalist, and look for areas of commonality where you could be like, hey, like, you went to UConn too? Or, oh, I don't know, we both live in Connecticut and the weather's great. Things like, whatever it could be. And just be an active listener, ask them questions. Other do's are, I will take notes during a conversation if it is a virtual call, because I work primarily remotely with my team. And so I personally don't think it's rude. Like, if someone's taking notes when I'm talking to them, like, I see it as they're interested and they want to remember what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is impactful to them. So I take light notes while also, the best I can, maintaining eye contact with the person on the screen. And then another do is asking your current contacts who else you should be connecting with. So you can ask, hey, like, since you know me and you know that I'm interested in learning blah 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 blah, is there anyone else in your network that you would recommend that I should connect with? And would you mind making that connection for us? So people have introduced me before over email. They'll be like, hi, this is my connection, Stephanie. I thought she'd be great to meet you. And then through there, I can take it from there and email that person directly and set up some time. And lastly, keep track of who you network with. So this can be in many shapes and forms. Like I said, I'll take notes. So I use Microsoft OneNote. So I just have a dedicated like tab to networking, and I have a page dedicated to each conversation. So I just take light notes during each meeting so I remember what we talked about for follow-up conversations. And that's kind of how I keep track of who I've networked with. And then a couple don'ts. We don't have to spend too long on this, but just like, the obvious stuff like having good body language, um, like not being prepared is bad. Don't waste people's time. Don't lose track of time and like go way over their own time. Definitely don't forget to thank them for their time. And if you do end up being in like a virtual setting, especially like in your future job, like definitely have your camera on instead of off, because it just helps, build that connection even better. Yeah. And I had in the PowerPoint like a tracker where you can, just another idea of like how you can track your networking, especially in the job search process. You can even create, like I use OneNote, you can make an Excel sheet just to keep track of who you're talking to and, where they work and maybe what your goal is out of your relationship with them. And I mentioned this a little bit before, but be prepared. So I think that's what's most important for me when it comes to any conversation or presentation. It's just like it's really helpful for me to write things out and just prepare myself with a little bit of a structure in mind. So I'm imagining being at the career fair once again, like it's always introducing yourself or responding to tell me about yourself. So being prepared to answer those questions so you're not just rambling, which I've definitely done in the past, is very important. So that's when you can bring in the personal branding statement, 30-second elevator pitch, and just thinking through like, who am I? What are my current goals? What skills do I bring to the table? What opportunities am I seeking? What skills can I bring to this specific situation or organization? And thinking about how I'm going to close that conversation. So if I'm at the career fair, like I mentioned, it's going to be, can I give you my resume? And can I have your business card? And would you mind if I followed up with you? Or would you mind confirming your email for me? I would love to stay in touch because I'm so interested in everything you told me about your program. And if, let's say I'm in a call with someone at my company that I'm networking with, I can ask for next steps like, oh, like I had such a great conversation with you. What can we do next? Like, would you mind if I set up a recurring call so we can meet monthly? I would love to stay in touch. Things like that. And you also see in my PowerPoint later on when you see it, there's like a sample elevator pitch talk track, which is basically like how you can almost think in your mind of how to structure your tell me about yourself introduction. And lastly, before we get to some questions, to kind of like kick off question time, because I definitely want it to be interactive. I want you guys to ask some questions. I put on the screen a couple scenarios, so networking scenarios, and I'll basically tell you what I would do in this situation. So I had 2 in person and 2 virtual because of the world we live in today, and then 2 in college, 2 in the workplace. So the first one is in-person college. So like I said, college student speaking to a recruiter at the career fair. I kind of just mentioned this one, but as an example, like I mentioned, I did my internship at Sears Decisions / Forrester. So, I already kind of knew them through the BCLC, but let's say I saw them at the career fair. So I would go up to them and be like, hi, my name is, and then give the whole spiel that I just went over with personal branding and basically say, like ask them questions about the program and basically express interest and be like, oh, this relates so much to what I'm studying in school or what I'm interested in. Like, I love how you said that. And then you can keep it pretty brief, but overall, just like I mentioned, hey, can I give you my resume or can I have your business card? I'd love to follow up. And then after that, follow up as soon as you can. And I basically end up getting my internship through not badgering, but a couple emails. So I emailed, hey, this is like me, this is Stephanie again, like hope like we had a great conversation at the career fair. I'm super interested in that opportunity you told me about. It was X and because of Y, and then yeah, go from there. The second one is virtual college. So let's say almost like this, you attend a virtual session and you would like to connect with the speaker for future mentorship. So you're all gonna be blowing up my email. Kidding. So if you attend a virtual session and you want to reach out to the speaker, and I've done this before, you can just email the person, or if you have their LinkedIn, you can connect them on LinkedIn and message on LinkedIn. So definitely sending a message, not just connecting, but do it either via email or LinkedIn message. I totally used to live by that. Basically, hi, my name is blank. I attended your session. I was super interested in this piece of it, and I would love to learn more. And then basically, what I would always love to do is, would you be available to have a one-on-one talk? I would love to get to know you better, introduce myself. Here are some available times. And then you give them available times within the next 2 or so weeks. And then you go from there. If they respond to you, great. If they don't respond to you, you can even follow up around the 2 week mark after. And then in-person workplace scenario could be, so I mentioned that I work mostly remote, but I go in person to a hoteling style office 4 days a week. So many of my I have many calls with people that are located all around the country, but I am in an office 4 days a week and I see people from various teams in person. So sometimes I'm getting coffee and there's a company leader by the coffee machine and I recognize them, but I've never met them in person. So it's a great opportunity, a little scary, but what I would do in this situation is um, I would basically say, like, it could be, it's more
Hang
natural than
on for
this,
one
but
second, Steph.
yeah,
Isabel, you are starting to share your screen. There we go. Okay.
I'm jealous she can do it. Um, But yeah, so getting coffee next to company leader, I recognize, I basically will say, hi, you're blank, right? And then they'll be like, yes. And then I can say, oh, I just wanted to introduce myself. I recognized you from blank. I'm Stephanie, give that little personal branding spiel. And then the conversation just flows from there. And then what you can do to kind of close it is, it was great meeting you today. Would you mind if I grab some time with you in the future for us to have more one-on-one time to get to know each other better? Or you could say, so I can understand where I can support you in your work if they're, a little related to your job. I've done that many times and it's, some good networking relationships have sprouted from that. And then the last one is virtual workplace scenario. So you and an SVP are the first to join a virtual meeting. So sometimes, like I used to wait a little bit. I was like, even if I'm a minute late to a meeting, I don't want to be on with like one other person. So when I was an intern, I would like wait a second, but that that was bad. If you are the first on a meeting with another SVP that you don't know, that is an awesome opportunity to say, hi, I don't think we've met before. Looking forward to working on this initiative together. And then you give your little spiel, and then, the meeting ensues. And then after you can ping them, email them, and say, I'm looking forward to working on this together, but I would love to set up some separate one-on-one time so I can better introduce myself and learn more about your career path because I'm super interested in it. So those are my four. I would love to hear your questions on networking, whether it's at the workplace or at UConn, getting your next opportunity. But feel free to ask me any questions. I know I was talking fast, but I'm opening up the floor.
Oh, we have a question from Emily. Go ahead, Emily. You can unmute yourself.
Hello, Stephanie. Thank you for coming. Um, I'm a sophomore marketing communications major, and I really want internship with this company. And I met one of the SVPs for the company at like a luncheon, but I feel weird asking her to put in a word for me about like the internship. So I was wondering what your advice is for that.
Okay. Do you have her email?
I have her on LinkedIn and we've connected.
Okay. So I'm gonna do the best I can with the context that I have. But I would recommend sending her a message on LinkedIn and say, "Hi, I'm blank." Give that context, like we met at the luncheon and it was super nice meeting you and I enjoyed talking to you about blank. Just be super open and honest. I'm very interested in an internship at blank company because it aligns with whatever goals. This is where I aspire to be in marketing and communications. And you just give a little spiel like that and say, you can even like be honest and ask for guidance and be like, is there any one or any direction that you can point me into so I can like further pursue an opportunity at your company? Yeah, basically, especially because she's an SVP, you might be like, oh, I don't know how she can help there, but you can ask her to direct you to someone at the company so you could talk further and learn more about specific job opportunities there. Does that make sense?
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We do have a question from Isabel. Go ahead, Isabel, you can ask your question and then I'll call on you, Jonathan.
Okay, so my question was, I know you were talking about networking and taking notes while networking, but sometimes I like to write down notes, but I didn't want to sound like be rude while doing it. So how would I go about taking notes, maintaining eye contact, but letting them know that I'm still paying attention? It's just I want to remember what they're saying.
So you know what? I say exactly what you just said to me. So even if yeah, like even if we're virtual, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm jotting this down because this is super great and I want to remember it." And no one's gonna take offense to that. Like, unless you're like looking all around space, like they're not gonna be like, oh, this person isn't engaged. And if you're worried about them thinking that, I'm just an overall pretty open person and I just communicate that. I'm like, oh, like I took so many notes in that call, like thank you so much. Or like, don't mind me. I'm definitely paying attention, but I'm just taking a couple notes here because I want to remember what you're saying. And just overall, just playing on the interest factor and appreciation factor, no one's gonna think you're rude. So I always typically over communicate.
Thank you.
Sure.
Jonathan? Well, then we'll do one more question. We're having a hard time hearing you, Jonathan. Yep.
Uh,
So it's wonderful that you put your video on so we could see your face, but maybe if you turn it off, we could hear better.
is that better?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with my computer right now.
It looks like a scary movie, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I know. This is the first time I've ever seen it. It's weird. Uh, Hi everybody. Thank you, Stephanie, for all your information and your tips about networking. It was to me, it's pretty intimidating before your tips. I'll definitely be trying to use them in practice.
Good.
I'm from Stanford. I know that the Synchrony headquarters is also in Stanford, and it seems like a kind of a dream early career job. I'm also a recent graduate, so I'm trying to get into the program just like how you started. How would be the best way to get a response for an interview with the networking? Like who?
Okay, so have you applied to the program?
Yes, I have. It says it's just under review. I think it's just in a pending period. I also have a second question for you after this.
Okay, gotcha. I was gonna say that's a good tie-in because I had a couple pages again, not that you can see, but about our programs. So the best thing that you could do in that situation is do you have a contact that like basically did you meet anyone at a career fair? Like how did you find out to apply to Synchrony?
Yeah, I mean, known about Synchrony because I also went to UConn Stanford. They have a innovation center there. I don't
Hmm.
really know many contacts. A lot of them were people that were in from internships, like classmates and stuff. So no one that is like can really put a word in, you know. So I guess you're probably, I'll be definitely connecting with you on LinkedIn to try and get more information and mentoring with it.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
will definitely connect with me. Yeah, it's hard because I don't really know how like our HR side of things works, but if you had a contact, that's more where I could help you there with like the networking part of it.
Okay, yeah,
But it's
definitely.
a little bit of a waiting game sometimes, so hopefully you hear back.
All right, thank you. And my second question is, for people that do get into interviews, was a mistake that you see a lot of people make within the interview or within engaging in the BLP program slash internship?
Oh wow, what a question. It's a good question. In an interview first, in an interview, I think just not being this is such a basic answer, but it's true. It's not being yourself or not being open. I feel like, again, at Synchrony, especially, we're a very culture-oriented company. So in a lot of ways, it's like you can pretty much learn anything, but they want to see cultural fits. And I would say this probably spans a lot of companies today. It's more about like you just being so willing to learn. And so just like get excited about things that they ask you about. If there's something that you're really passionate about at UConn on your resume, like tell them about it and like don't be dry basically. Just be like, I loved this part of it and I did this and it was impactful because and just yeah, show that zeal that I think many companies would look for. And I think that's to your second part of your question about like mistakes seen in the program. I think it would be similar, like not getting the most out of it. You know, lack of networking, lack of connecting with your peers, because it's a big thing having that peer group. Um, yeah, that's what I can say. Of
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for your time.
course. Yeah, and I know we're at time, but I wanted to just plug Synchrony there. It's we have our VLP program. That's the full time that I just finished. But we are mainly just looking for interns right now and externs. So the externship is for sophomores. That happens in May. And basically, it's just a week in Stanford, and you learn all about the programs, and you get to meet people, and you automatically have an internship interview through that. And then, like I mentioned, the internship is for juniors, and that is a direct pipeline into the full time, which is exactly how I did it. So I have the links here. I'm sure Kathy can share those with you, but right now we are mainly hiring for the externship and the internship.
And Stephanie, I'm happy to send out the links to those roles. So it's wonderful the students put their email in here so we can forward, as long as you're okay with that, we'll forward the PowerPoint and then the links to the jobs. So I want to make sure that we're mindful of Stephanie's time because she was absolutely so wonderful to take the time out today to talk with us. Students who are on here, please feel free to reach out to anybody on our team, Judy Stewart in Stanford, Mick in Waterbury and in stores, and myself with any questions that you have. But you know, we talked about networking in so many different ways, and you have it in your classes. But to Stephanie's point, it doesn't have to be scary. It's being genuine, being who you are. And when we tell you it's interesting, but when Stephanie, an alumni who, you know, sorry about that, you graduated in 2021. When I looked at that, I thought, wait a minute. We never let them leave once they're here. But when an alumni tells you this is what you can do, and she actually did it and worked the system in a way that was really genuine and personal, I think those words speak to the heart. So we thank you, Stephanie. We appreciate all of it. So I'm going to have Judy, if you would stop recording, and then, you know, we appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you for the kind words, Kathy. Thanks
Oh.
everyone for coming.